Hello, everybody. This is Jehan, and I'm here in Manitoulin Island with my homeboy Truey.
Yo, what's up?
We are visiting Manitoulin Island from Toronto. Um, we are almost at the end of our little vacation here. We came here on Tuesday, December 7th, and it's pretty nice stay. We're staying at an Airbnb. And the best part about it is the Airbnb is pretty spacious. There's enough room inside. There's a fireplace inside to keep us all nice and cozy. There's a nice modern kitchen, modern washroom, and all the amenities most of the amenities that you could think of are available. And the best part is there's also a nice backyard view here of the lake over here. And right now we're recording from the little boat launch here at the end of the road where we are staying. We are actually on the little, the walkway off the pier, off the boat launch area. And it's pretty nice. Right now the time is, what's the time right now? Let's see. The time is now 5:53. Even though it feels a lot later, it is not even 6 o'clock yet. And because it's December, obviously, in Canada, our daylight is done basically by 5 p.m. So, with that being said, it does feel a lot longer at nighttime because we have nightfall by 5 p.m. And it does give us a little different view of the outside world from here in Manitoulin Island. I think first impressions from me regarding Manitoulin Island and even where we're staying is, of course, it's new to me. This was something that I've been planning to do over the last month, and we finally made the trip over here. But otherwise, the drive here was pretty nice. We stopped by the what was it in what area was that? Gravenhurst. We stopped in Gravenhurst for Torrance Barrens Dark Sky Reserve, and we spent the night there. Well, I mean, technically the early morning because we did get there like way past 3 o'clock in the morning. However, we just chilled out, took a nap there, and then we left around 9 o'clock to resume driving up to Manitoulin Island. And we've never driven out this way. Well, I haven't. So this is a new experience for me, driving all the way out here during the winter time. I got to see the winter landscape instead of during the summer. But it's definitely an experience for the books. And I would say for the soul too. I mean, it's good to get away from your day-to-day activities and life to kind of take a breather so you can go back feeling a lot more refreshed and clear-headed. And that's exactly what we're doing. Truey, you got anything to add?
So far, this trip has been great. Been cooking good food every day, eating salmon and pork chops and steaks and chicken, lamb. And the island itself is very revitalizing, refreshing oxygen every morning. You know, it's cold, but not like a chilly type of cold, more of a still cold. When you walk outside, it's snowing, but there's no wind. And when there's wind, there's no snow. We went over to a trail, a cup and saucer trail, yesterday, and we ended up going off trail and making our own way to the top of the cliff, climbing rocks like mountaineers. We got to the top, we were on mushrooms. We look over and we see the view. It was really nice. treetops covered in snow, houses far in the distance. You can just hear like the wind rustling through the hollows of the trees. It was a really good experience. And then we climbed back down, slipping and sliding all the way down to the end of the hill.
More like a cliff.
Walked over, got home. Feet were all frozen, cold, but it was a really good experience and worth the time. The beginning of our time here, we did mushrooms.
Yeah, that was my first time doing mushrooms too. So that was a really neat experience. I got to understand what my introduction to psychedelics were like. And I listened to some nice music. And I think the highlight of that experience was we got to see a golden retriever that was outside our door, looking into the window, just watching.
Yeah, we let him in and he was a part of our trip, just dancing with us and just walking around. We gave him pepperoni sticks and we were just playing Snoop Dogg with the dog, just chilling on mushrooms. The day after that, the next day, we decided to microdose. And I took a little bit more because I wanted to have another trip. And that trip was really spiritual for me. There was a point in the trip around like 12 to 3 a.m. around that time bracket where I just had like a deep understanding of life and like stars and what we are, just atoms and atoms. And like when we die, we just become part of something else. And it was a really meaningful trip. And I was listening to Words of Wisdom by our guru on YouTube. And a lot of the things that he said spoke out to me. Like I could envision his words in my trip. I found a spider and I felt like I could like call it. Like I would tap on the floor, it would follow me. And then I gave it some honey and I was just looking at it. It was just a cool little spider playing with me and everything. That whole trip was really different. It was a really abstract experience.
Yeah, for me, the trip itself started off with just light tingling sensations. I mean, it did take a little bit of time, but it didn't take as long as I was expecting it to because I took it right before I started having dinner. So it really started kicking in when I was almost done my plate. Um, I have to say that was so much fun. I've never laughed so much in my life. I laughed continuously until my face and my stomach was hurting. And even though I mentally wanted to stop laughing, I didn't. Just continued laughing. And at some point I remember feeling my throat was on fire because I was getting dehydrated from laughing all that. And other than that, yeah, I mean, we were lit, man. We had a really good time on that trip. We were playing music. We had a dog that was like partying with us, and I mean I knew it wasn't some stray dog because he had collars, and I figured he was the our Airbnb host's dog, which we found out to be the case in the morning. And otherwise, we had a wonderful time with that first trip. I mean, I microdosed, I believe, the following night, just because I had a headache for majority of the day. The day after, I think that's just because I wasn't hydrated enough. So while I was nursing that, I got to really enjoy some delicious meals cooked by the homie Truey. He really did his thing, and it was really delicious, to say the least. I even have photos, and I know I'm gonna think about those meals later on throughout the winter, especially because we still have 2 to 3 more months of winter time. So I'll be thinking of that. And otherwise, tomorrow is our last day here. So 11 o'clock is our checkout time from the Airbnb. Um, we are planning to stop at a few areas along the way Most of that being Bridal Wheel Falls, and there's another road that I got from a local, directions from a local, which we're going to check out along the way. There's also a chocolate factory I hear nearby the waterfalls we're stopping at. So I think that should be an eventful day because afterwards we'll be heading back to Toronto, which is going to be about 5 to 6 hour drive back. So it should be back sometime midnight at late at the latest. I forgot to add that. Oh, my experience from the whole Cup and Salsa Trail too. Well, I definitely had an eventful experience for sure. Other than us getting off the sort of I wouldn't say not maintained, but at some point the markers for the trail disappeared, so we had to kind of improvise, and that's where we started climbing up the side of a cliff. And along the way, I didn't realize because I also slid earlier, that my phone had slipped out of my jacket pocket. And up until after I got to the top, which I was ready to give up, give up on my phone, which I technically did. Actually, I didn't think I would find out where my phone was, especially because I left it in vibrate only. Genius me, right? And we kind of ventured above the cliff, tried to find the trail, which we did, and then again it kind of lost halfway because the markers stopped being marked along the trees. And so we had to come to a decision to climb back down from that same cliff, which was not part of the official trail, which was full of snow and slippery, very narrow, with barely any footings and holdings, along with a nicely soaked boot full of snow and cold foot, which actually happened a little later. But actually, no, that did happen at the top of the stone itself, or the cliff. So I was ready to give up my whole phone recovery process, and then we kind of traced our way back, and I asked Trey to call the phone again, and I heard it vibrate, but then his phone died. So we had to track back to our truck, get his phone charged, and then I made my way back to the phone area and where I had him call. Luckily, it was right below where I was standing, so I was able to get it out. But on the way back, I managed to freeze my foot even more because my boot continued coming loose, and I had a soaked sock, which I took off earlier, and my foot kept on getting covered in snow. And of course, by the time I found my phone, it was pitch black. So I mean, I didn't go into the forest without any lights. That would have been pretty stupid of me. And I had a flashlight, which I used to get back. Otherwise, I'd be freezing my balls off overnight there. But yeah, that was the event of yesterday for me. And other than that, I got to check out the little local gift shop and picked up a few things for some people that are close to me, to my heart. And yeah, tomorrow we're gonna be heading back, and the rest is part of history.
For those of you who haven't like experienced anything with psychedelics, it is a really beautiful experience once done in like the right setting. A lot of the time people try to manifest money and, you know, wealth and certain materialistic things like cars or women or guys that will give them happiness, but people forget to manifest things like spiritual, mental, and physical growth. And I feel like that's the main thing to manifest, because once you are at your fullest, you can perform at your fullest, which means you'll have better odds at getting all the other things that you want to manifest about that are materialistic. And psychedelics open you up to a lot of ideas. You question your thoughts, you see your thoughts before you perceive them. You can have a beautiful experience where you feel like you're one with the world, and where you came from. You can have an ego death and realize that who you are isn't really that big of a deal. It's what you're a part of and what you stand for. And psychedelics really help open that up. And even besides that, it helps you have a good trip and see things from a different eye. Like, you view certain things and you laugh at them that you wouldn't have laughed at before. You experience things a different way. You might love drinking a certain type of tea, and you might drink it all the time, but you drink it on psychedelics and you're just laughing at it, appreciating it even more. Just like me playing around with a spider that I wouldn't have looked at twice in my sober moods. And it's a beautiful experience. It can help you with stress, depression, because it helps uplift you and show you the things that are around you that you don't see on a day-to-day basis. And it's something that people should be more open to and venture out into. Experience things that you haven't experienced before, go places you haven't been before, and yeah.
Awesome. That's a nice little afterthought. Man, I can't even speak today. Um, from my homie Truey. Um, we we met actually earlier this year. I think, was it March?
Mm,
It was March, right?
around then.
Yeah, it was March. I believe it was March for sure, but I didn't think that we would be such good friends in such a little time. But considering that we spent a lot of time around each other, especially when we went to Thunder Bay back in August, I mean, you can't just travel with anybody. You have to find the people in your life or that you're gonna be friends with and that you match with, that have the same kind of mentality as you to explore or have already explored more than you. I think that's really important because that gives you a different perspective to look towards. And spending time around Truey, especially when we were at in Thunder Bay, we learned a lot about him as a friend. You know, it was a great bonding experience too with a new friend. I mean, it really strengthened our friendship, and it's important for people to have good friends and good company that they can keep and grow and learn from, especially as time passes by every day a little quicker than the day before. Um, all these experiences combine to help you heal from your past and help you grow your mind towards the future. That's really important. I mean, without self growth and realization and coming to terms with a lot of things, you would be planning to fail your life. So I think it's important to also travel, especially with somebody that you can trust and and also who has the experience from traveling prior, to guide you as well, because there's so much knowledge out there that you can learn from just one person. But yeah, that's my input for this podcast. I hope everybody that listens to this can take anything out of it, can take some sort of lesson out of it and apply it to themselves. And safe travels to everybody. Don't be afraid to live your life. Even though we're going through a crisis globally, make sure you take the time to work on yourself and take care of your friends and your family and your loved ones. All the things that contribute to a life worth living. Till next time, everybody, have a good one. And Merry Christmas to those